Hey there, Patty Dominguez here. I'm so excited for this solo episode today. I hope this finds you thriving in your business, feeling good about what you're creating out in the world. And in this show, I want to answer a question that came out from a conversation that I had with a coach. She asked me, Patty, how do I stand out? And while a very simple question, there's a lot here to that, and I thought I would share a little bit about what I shared with her. So that's this episode for today. Thank you for being here. Here we go. Hey there, I'm Patty Dominguez. You're about to discover what it means to position your brand and your business to stand out. This show explores the stories of small business owners just like you who are bringing their message out to the world and impacting their tribe. So if you want to take your business to a category of one status, then hang with me because this podcast shares everything you need to know about how to be more prolific with your brand so that you can have more profits. Okay, so I am so excited to connect with you today to talk about positioning, which is one of the most favorite things that I talk about. And what I have been doing more this year, more than ever, is talking specifically about positioning and just how important it is to promote yourself. You know, how to promote yourself, because fact is we're programmed to look for rankings and social proof on social media and searches and really looking at, well, how does that rank and what's better and where is it that I can find the best place for sushi or the best life coach, or who is the one to talk to when it comes to increasing athletic performance. I mean, it could go on. And really, we want to have that marking of being legit, being official. Truth is, we don't even know what these official things mean. So take, for example, JD Power rankings, right? It's something that car companies use, and yet I would venture to guess that the average consumer doesn't know what qualifications are for getting a high JD Power associate ranking. But we buy into the notion that it's special, that things are official, that it must be credible. So how do we bring this back to us? You know, how do we become that credible source, the one with the official status, and being known is where it's at? Like, think about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, think about what it means to be known. I mean, how many times, and let's be completely honest, and I'll raise my hand and say, yes, I have done that too. When you look over at someone who is super popular, that is in the same space that you are in, and they're absolutely crushing it. How many times you look over and you say to yourself, really, that guy? Or are you kidding me? That woman is crushing it. Are you serious? Well, the fact of the matter is, there is no correlation between being the smartest in the room and being the most successful, or being the most learned, or the one with the most certifications, or, as a former coach told me, you have more degrees than a thermometer. And yet I thought that getting that education was all that I needed to get ahead. And let's be honest, it's not. So when we look at those people who may not be as accredited or have the accolades that we have, and you look over and you ask yourself, really, that guy? Yeah, that guy. And I have come to the conclusion that when you see why they are in that status, it's because they had the balls to say, yeah, I'm the greatest, kind of like Conor McGregor, who is the mixed martial arts star, and he would say, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, like Muhammad Ali, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, and you have to say it first. And I've been known to say you cannot wait for anybody to anoint you the expert. You have to have the balls to do it first and say it first in order for other people to believe that to be true. Because what I've seen is that seven-figure earners transcend that level of what others are not willing to do, right? They're in the business of promoting themselves. They're in the business of being themselves, but a more elevated way of themselves. So this year is really the year that I'm being very on purpose with my promotion. I'm talking about my message. I'm boldly claiming that I am an expert in positioning. I've been in this whole deal, both on the corporate side when you look at consumer packaged goods, as well as helping people and saying that, yes, I'm an expert, and really building around this compelling ideas that help to build that credibility. So there is a system, there is a framework to what it is that I do. Now, one of the things that the late and great Ogilvy, who is just a master at direct response. It was an advertising agency. I worked with people from Ogilvy. And one of the famous quotes that he said is, if you can't advertise you, what hope do you have of advertising anything else? Because Ogilvy knew that the big money flows to those with the highest status. If you think about it, there's something really energetic about that as well. So it's not about what you do. You can be a coach, a financial advisor, a chef, a personal trainer, an accountant. That's the doing part of it. And as Jay Abraham says, you're actually a marketer of the thing that you do. Because fact is, you have to get uncomfortable with having the spotlight on you, because 97% of people aren't willing to do the uncomfortable stuff, to put themselves out there, to be the marketer of what they do. It's uncomfortable. It's unpredictable at times. And if you really think about it, it's not about talent alone. It's not about how much you know. It's not about your degrees, like I mentioned. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about how memorable you are. I mean, think about the people that really stand out, say in the Hollywood space or in the performing space. Think about Lady Gaga, right? I mean, the first time I saw her in that egg, like this egg contraption on the red carpet, or she wore the meat dress. You're probably nodding your head being like, what? Yeah, I do remember that. Or Howard Stern. When I was in college, I remember hearing about Howard Stern. I just could not stop listening to Howard Stern because people would say, yeah, I wonder what he's going to say next. So as appalling and polarizing as he is, he stands out. Or Jeffree Star, who is a YouTube superstar and has his own cosmetic line, and how when he launches a new eye palette, he absolutely breaks Shopify because it can't handle the volume of people that are waiting to buy, and his palettes sell out in a matter of seconds. Or Will Smith following his adventures as he turns age 50 and starts skydiving and doing all kinds of crazy things and getting the behind the scenes look at his life that he so transparently shares. And I mean, these are the people that have curated their following consistently, repeatedly, and in a very calculated way, because they're aware of what it takes to create engagement, and they're really marketing themselves. So, Will Smith's not marketing that he is an actor, or Jeffree Star is not promoting that he is a makeup artist. He's promoting the brand of being himself. Okay, we're about halfway through with this episode, but I wanted to make sure that you knew about my new Positioning to Profit quiz so that you can discover how to use the key pillars of positioning to give yourself the ultimate edge for your business. It's an assessment, personalized plan of action to overcome these roadblocks that are keeping you from even more profit. So head on over to positioningquiz.com. All right, let's continue with the show. So the idea here to ask yourself is, how are you standing out? Because the thing that will get you to the multiple six figures if you're not there, the seven figures if you're not there, and beyond is really predicated on your ability to sell you. It's why Dan Kennedy, the marketing genius, when he was marketing his campaign writing, his copywriting, he would charge $100,000 to do so, plus points on the back end. And he has said that there are many other talented copywriters that are more talented than him, but he called the shots on how much he wanted to make and for how much, because he was in the business of branding himself. So now the question becomes, how do you do that? And what I will challenge you with is to proclaim, this is the first tip, to proclaim that you are the one, right? You are the one in your niche, in your space, the one to go to. I mean, my friend, Dr. Christine Katzmar, who has been on the show, she says, because of her abilities and the amount of study and the results that she's gotten for thousands of patients for colitis and IBS, etc., is so significant. If you were to ask her, she irrefutably says, I am the Bruce Lee of what I do. I'm the Elon Musk, right, of IBS. So it's really funny and we laugh about it, but she's absolutely serious. So there's a level of certainty, indisputable certainty that she has and has the ability to proclaim it to be so. It is why when you look at Conor McGregor, again, going back to MMA, he just proclaims it and he says it boldly, unabashedly, unapologetically. And that's how you have to be yourself. And it's not being braggadocious by any means, but it's really putting it out there in the ethers to say, listen, if I'm not saying this, then how can anybody believe that to be the case for me, right? So proclaim it to be so. And the other one is really finding your niche or your niche, really the long tail of what it is that you do and really creating that distinct positioning, finding your little microcosm of, and of course there has to be enough people for you to attract, but finding that, and really putting into effect who it is you want to serve and be very specific about this. And then the other idea we have been talking about in a group that I'm in with my mentor, he was talking about this whole topic of dramatic demonstration. And that is something that is absolutely a way to stand out. And what I mean by that is think about the standouts, right? So I remember, gosh, this is my maybe mid 80s or so. There was a stunt man. His name was Evel Knievel. And gosh, I remember as a kid, he would do these stunts on TV, and most of the times he would fail. It would be where he would jump he would go on a ramp and want to get to the other side in his motorcycle, and he would crash almost more often than not. And because of that, he got so much hoopla when he was doing things that's what he became known for. So it's just really amazing. Or think about the televangelists that are out there and just creating a spectacle, right? And just a lot of hoopla there. That's how they have these dramatic demonstrations of healing people. Or Joe Polish is a really famous marketer, connector. And when he was starting out as a carpet cleaner, he would go to people's houses and he called it his carpet cleaning audit. And this is probably the first time I ever heard about this concept of putting together a dramatic demonstration, showing people, right? The proof is in the pudding of what it is that you can do and creating an art and a science around it so that when you're showing people that proof, they'll say yes. They'll be like, wow, yes, give me more of that. I want more. Or say, for example, you're a chiropractor, putting together a methodology for what it is that you do, creating a report of findings so that it's not just about the x-ray that you're giving, but really wrapping it together, packaging it up in a very distinct way so that you're giving them something above and beyond. Or say, for example, you're a coach. One of the easiest ways to do that is with hot seats or on the fly coaching. It's just showing your think on your feet abilities and your ability to help people and create transformations that way. Or if you're a copywriter, having live AMAs, Ask Me Anything calls, right? Where you're helping people maybe with their headlines or hooks or copywriting questions. Dan Kennedy, again, the marketing genius, would do this at his conferences where he would have people stand up at the beginning of the conference and say, hey, anybody who is from outside the US, go ahead and stand up for me. So he already knew who his attendees were. He just wanted to show the other people in the room that his reach was far and wide, that people were globetrotting to get to him, to get to one of the seminars where Dan Kennedy was. So some other examples of coaches is when, for example, you have a gold badge or titanium level or in a circle level, people categorizing themselves based on their level of engagement with you. And there's something really special to be said about that. So these are all ideas that ultimately feeds into your positioning to profit strategy. It's really your ability to create mind share in your prospect's brain, that you're creating this distinct, purple cow or mentionable about what it is that you do and the way that you're doing it so that you have a specific position of value. And so I really would challenge you to take a look at the way that you're packaging your things out. Like, are you putting yourself out there in a way that you're claiming your distinct expertise? Are you claiming it? Are you making special? Are you wearing your cape boldly? Are you telling other people? And, with that, are you finding your niche, right? Are you finding those people that you're serving that you're going to give them a transformation? And what is the dramatic demonstration that you have showing that what you're doing is something special and, in essence, giving them some proof in the pudding, so to speak? So those are just 3 tips that I wanted to share with you about, again, positioning the value in your prospect's brain and capturing that mind share. So I hope this helps, and let me know what your thoughts are. You can always head over to my page on the podcast page in the show notes, and there's the ability for you to connect with me on SpeakPipe. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show or any questions that you have on positioning. And I'll give you a shout out on the show on the next solo show. So keep coming back because we have other special interviews with amazing guests and how they have positioned their business to profit. So there you have it. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I enjoy imparting these little nuggets, and there will be more to come. Because ultimately, what I'm challenging you to do, what I'm challenging more of that in my own business as well, is doing more, being more of you, and putting yourself out there in a way that is distinct, that's memorable, boldly, again, unabashedly and unapologetically you. All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for checking out the Positioning to Profit podcast. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. And also, it would mean the world to me if you would take a quick moment to leave a rating and review on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcast player. It really helps to get the word out about the podcast and, of course, the featured guests. And lastly, please make sure to connect with me on social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, I'm on all of them, and use hashtag positioning to profit so that I can search you out and connect that way too. All right, thanks so much. See you next time.